Imagine waking up with 1,000 ideas but not knowing where to start. It can feel like being an entrepreneur, coder, writer all at once, being pulled in a million directions, juggling so many passions while dropping all the balls. In this video, we'll dive into the key questions every multi-passionate person struggles with. Whether you're a creative, entrepreneur, or just someone with multiple interests, this video will help you get a handle on all your passions without burning out and going mad. Hi everyone, Marie here. In our last video, we discussed the practical tips that we need to be able to manage our multiple passions without feeling overwhelmed. In today's video, we'll be unpacking the biggest high-stakes questions that multi-passionate people constantly face when trying to manage their multiple passions while trying not to go crazy, right? Let's just dive in. So you're knee-deep in a project, and suddenly the spark is gone. Does this mean it's time to bail, or is it a test of your perseverance? Let's talk about it. One of the biggest challenges is when to know to keep pushing forward or when it's time to let go. Perseverance is crucial, especially in the early stages of a project. Oftentimes, the initial excitement usually fades, and that's when many people give up. So imagine you've had a strong start of a project that you've been working on for, let's say, 6 months now, which gains initial traction. However, as the novelty wears off, your interest starts waning. If you end up giving up at this stage, you end up missing out on the potential impact that the project could end up having. Have you ever poured your heart and soul into a project only to later end up finding your enthusiasm waning? If so, how did you decide whether to persevere or whether to pivot? Listening to your intuition can help guide you towards what truly matters. You need to reflect on why you started the project you're currently working on. If your intuition truly tells you that the project no longer aligns with your long-term goals, then definitely it may be time to pivot. But if you end up finding that it's just a phase of boredom or lack of inspiration, pushing through could actually end up inspiring renewed interest in the project, which would give you so much energy to then take it on with a new set of eyes. Can you remember a time when your gut feeling led you to make a different change in your career or life? How did that turn out? How did you? So if you end up finding that your intuition is not clear, you can't really trust yourself at this particular time, and you're not sure if perseverance is really something you're interested in, then strategy is something that you should take into consideration. Give yourself a specific period to work on the project without making any decision. For instance, you can decide to give your current project another 3 months, where you set small achievable goals like we discussed in our previous video to reignite your interest or monitor your progress. This way, you can make sure you're making an informed decision on whether you want to pivot or continue working on the project based on the data you've gotten from the 3 months you've been monitoring what has been going on. Sometimes losing interest is just a phase. Maybe you need a break, or perhaps you're hitting a creative wall. But if that feeling continues to persist, then it may be time to release or reassess. Trust your gut, but always remember not to give up too easily. What strategies do you use to stay motivated when a project starts to feel stale? How do you end up balancing your passions with practicality? The age-old question, to kill or not to kill. Sometimes the best decision you can make for a project is to let go, but how do you really know when to make the call to let go of something you've been working on for quite some time? Trust me, I feel you. It's really tough to let go of something you've poured your heart and soul into. Yet, sometimes it's the kindest thing you can do for yourself because your energy, time are resources that are super precious. We don't want to end up wasting our time on something that is not going anywhere. I want you guys to imagine you're watering a plant. You've poured water, love, hours, tears into this thing, right? So do you keep pouring water hoping it'll magically come back to life? Or do you accept the loss and move on? Let's face it, at this point, it's dead. This is the essence of the sunk cost fallacy. It's when you die hard sticking with something, knowing it's not working just because you've invested a lot of time, energy, money, or other resources into it. It's like being stuck in a movie you hate and refuse to leave because you paid the ticket for it. So don't let your past dictate your future. Sometimes the best thing you can do is to cut your losses and be able to move on to the next thing that would allow you joy and fulfillment in your life. But how do you do this is the question. Evaluate your project's potential and see if it's still viable. For example, take the project you're currently working on. Assess it objectively. List down its pros and cons. Consider the market demand and your passion for it. If the cons end up outweighing the pros significantly, then maybe time to actually let go of it. Have you ever let go of a cherished idea or project? And what factors did you consider when you were making the decision to call it a wrap, to be able to move on to something else? Something we mentioned in our previous video that will also apply here is seek feedback from your trusted sources. Ask friends and experts for their opinions because their insights could help you see your project flaws or points of improvement that you can apply that would allow you to gain insight in making an informed decision on whether it just needs an extra push or it's time for Nara to let it go. Important is external feedback in shaping your creative process. Can you remember a time when external feedback helped shed a light on a project you're working on? Finally, make a firm decision and move forward without regret. After some careful evaluation and feedback that you've taken into consideration, you could then make a decision to either continue to pursue the project or drop it and close the book on that chapter, allowing you to redirect your energy to something more fruitful. To decide whether you want to scale a project, it's important to ask yourself, is it aligned with your long-term goals? Does it bring you joy? Is it financially viable? If the answers are mostly no, then unfortunately or fortunately, it may be time to say goodbye. Every project is a teacher, whether it succeeds or fails. It's like leveling up in a video game. You may not win every time, but you're gaining valuable skills and experience. It's important for you to realize when you need to embrace the failures, learn from them, and move forward. The question is how. So the first thing is to view each project that you work on as a stepping stone. Imagine you're a writer who loves photography and cooking. Launch a photography blog, but it doesn't end up gaining a lot of traction. Instead of focusing on the frustration you may be feeling, you end up realizing that the photography and the blogging skills that you've gained would end up becoming transferable in future pursuits. Do you remember a time where you worked on a project or multiple projects that did not succeed as planned, but ultimately taught you valuable lessons? How did you apply those lessons? It's super important if you have multiple passions that you adopt a growth mindset and see every failure as an opportunity for you to grow. Your project may not be successful now, but ends up making you a more resilient, skilled, and experienced creator in your coming pursuits. Can you think of a time a project you perceived at the moment as a failure ended up having you gain unexpected experience that led to an unexpected opportunity that you are super grateful for? Ever tripped and fallen? We all have, but what if instead of seeing it as a stumble, you ended up seeing it as a stepping stone? Reframing failure is like turning lemon into lemonade. Failure is just a detour, a result to an action. It's never a dead end, especially if you have multiple passions. It's your chance to do something different with what you've learned, a golden opportunity. Always see it as a stepping stone to your comeback story, because I guarantee if you have multiple passions, you will definitely come back. Remember, it's never about the destination, it's the journey you go through as you learn or gain all the skills you're getting and the experience as well. Every single project you work on, no matter how small, contributes to your overall growth. You're never the same person you were when you first started, as opposed to when you've worked on it and you're on the other side. It may not necessarily have been finished, but there was a transformation that occurred as you were working on that project. With a little self-awareness, resilience, and a touch of chaos management, you can turn multiple passions or having multiple projects into a beautiful masterpiece. To help you get started, I've created helpful tools. You can find them by clicking the link in the description box below. We've got a Passion Assessment Workbook to help you figure out what you love doing, a project planner to help you keep your ideas and projects organized, a Kill Your Darlings checklist for those tough decisions, and some reframe failure affirmation cards to help keep your spirits high. And hey, if you're looking for more practical tips on how to manage your time and energy, I'd so love to hear your thoughts on this video and some of the reflective questions we've touched on when managing your multiple passions. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. Let's support each other to help create a simpler, productive life. Thank you for joining me. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content. See you guys in the next video. Bye.